Hey, it's favorite inconsistent YouTuber. I want to have a conversation. So, holy shit, that's Stitch. So, watch me play some Pokemon Brick Bronze while we talk. So, I want to talk about how the world has changed a lot in the past 20 years. And okay, I just wanted to know where to forget the moves. I am 19 years old. I am going to be 20 this year in a few months, and a lot has changed. I am mainly talking about the US because that's where I am born and raised. So, yeah. Just want to talk about how the world has changed. Life has changed a lot in the past 20 years. I would even say the past 10 years. But my life has been close to 20 years, so we're going to say 20. So, I want to start off with how life was back then. Okay? And back then, it was really simple. Life was simple, okay? Everything was not so difficult or complicated like things are now. Nowhere near. I'm just going to be honest. Nowhere near. So you see, life back then, what I mean by simple is everybody had options, right? And everyone lived, I want to say everyone lived similar lives for the most part. Because back then, there were options for any like class. You could be rich and you have your options. You could be middle class and you can have your good options. And you could be poor and you have your options on how to live. Right? Now I know that sounds kind of vague and might not be, fully understandable. So what I mean is everything was cheap back then for everybody. Like I said, how everybody has their options, poor, rich, or in between. It's true. Rich had their cheap options, the middle class had their cheaper options, and the poor had their cheapest options. Life was different. Life was affordable. Everybody was able to live back then, no matter where, no matter how much money they had. And things have changed. What are these people going on about over here? But no, seriously. Remember the life of having a box TV and you were satisfied with life? Life was fun, life was great. And that's what I mean by simple as well. It was fun and it was great back then because of how simple it was. You guys remember watching things in a box TV, having cool toys, Nintendo DS's, Wii's, GameCubes, Xboxes, everything like that. And they were affordable to get as well. It was great. And you know what? Money wasn't as crucial back then as it is now. Let me explain. You were able to afford, let's say you're in your 20s, getting to your 30s, or you are in your 30s, right? In the 2000s. In the 2000s, let's say you were in your 20s or 30s. you were able to afford to not just get a place to live, right? Food, shelter, clothing, water, electricity, and all that, right? You, along with that, were able to afford to get married. You were able to afford to have a family. You were able to live that luxury life that everyone talks about wanting. Right? Along with that, you were able to afford to be able to go on vacation if you wanted to with your partner or with your family. You could afford that. It was just different and it was simpler. Kids back then grew up with fucking ice cream trucks, with SpongeBob popsicles, Spider-Man popsicles, bomb pops. You guys remember that? What's the end? Did I get Dream Eater? That is not what I wanted to do. Sorry. It was simpler for kids and adults. Nowadays, like kids don't even have cartoons to grow up with anymore. Ocean's Origin. This tells me Kyogre's here. You had cartoons. People would actually go outside. Kids would go outside and go to the park. People would go in their backyards and have fun with their toys. You know what I mean? No one really does that anymore. No one. You remember that luxury life I was talking about? Being able to afford to have a family and get married and have kids and go on vacation all at once? That feels nearly impossible now. And I want to say that it's because of technology and even COVID. And that's where we transitioned from the 2000s and 2010s era of life, where life was simpler, to now in the 2020s and life after COVID, and how things changed exponentially for the world. Well, for us, like everybody. So what happened as well is money is extremely crucial now. And I will also explain that soon. And things like the rise of AI and the job market failing. I wouldn't say failing, but it's not great. And just technology is... it's kind of ruining us. So you think of the year 2020, right? You think of COVID, you think of quarantine, you think of maybe even depression. Maybe life was depressing for you in 2020. Maybe you were lonely. You know what I mean? So where I'm going with this is also, here's what happened during COVID. A lot of businesses shut down. And you know what happens when businesses shut down? The person that owns the business owner, and the government lose money. The government doesn't gain money because you're not paying the business taxes anymore for that. Right? That's for one. And for two, you're not getting the money that you're not earning money because nobody's going out to your business to be able to, for you to afford to keep your business afloat. So you have to shut down. Because for COVID, we're quarantined and nobody wants to go outside and pay to get themselves sick and potentially die of an unknown disease. Like a disease that we have little information about, right? It sucked. It was horrible. Okay. But yeah, it was just, it was bad for the world. It was bad for everybody. And now we live in a huge life of more advanced technology, social media. Life is extremely different than it was 20 years ago. Back then, you were able, as a kid, you were able to talk about having this luxury life of, oh, I'm gonna have this Lamborghini. I'm gonna have this big old mansion that costs like a gazillion dollars, and the Lamborghini, it's gonna be flying or whatever, or it's gonna be so cool. It's gonna be $1 million. Go in town and check for assistance. Okay, but yeah, it's just, it was different. You were able to actually have hope for your future and talk about stuff like that. Now you just can't. Holy hell. Sorry. But yes, back then you were able to have hopes. Hope and optimism for your future. Nowadays, you don't really think about stuff like that. Nowadays, you think of what's the next thing I need, right? Because, like I said earlier, money is extremely crucial now. And this is where I come to explain it. A simple $300 means a lot more now than it did back then. You know why? Because money has become a thing more that we need more than we have the privilege to have. You know what I mean? You absolutely need money to live. I know that it has been that way for a very long time. I know that. It's just not the same, though. You need money. Rather than to have thousands and thousands of dollars on the side to pay for something like a vacation or anything like that. Because remember how back then I told you you were able to have the luxury life? You can't now. Because you need money for everything that has the prices rising by a shit ton. Because guess what happened after COVID? Everything took a huge spike. Prices spiked. Groceries, technology, anything like that has gone up so much. And it's because technology is advancing. And guess what? For technology to be so advanced, it costs a lot of money. A lot of money. So, I mean, think about it. Some people still have an iPhone 8. Remember that home button on the iPhone? That we don't have anymore because our current iPhones are just full screen and all of that? That's kind of... It's not the case, and I get it. Technology is advancing. I mean, look at the camera quality of things back then to now. It's changed quite a bit. But, like I'm saying with technology advancing, that technology, it's killing us. And here's why. Because all that money that us people could use to live that life that we could have had like it was the 2000s, is gone. Because so many people, the rich are always going to be fine, right? Because they have all the money in the world. They're set for the rest of their lives. They're probably even set for generations, right? But people in the middle class and that are poor are struggling a lot more now because people invest so much money into technology and the advancement of technology, right? And remember when I mentioned the job market and it being not in a great spot? COVID, right? What happened was, like I said, the businesses shut down. And because they shut down, people lost, not only did the business owner lose money, but so did the people working there. They lost their job. And because a lot of businesses shut down, people that want to go out and get a job now, it's a little hard because there's less places to go to and there's less options. So when we're in a world where we need a shit ton of money just to live and we need a job, why is it so difficult to get a job when everyone needs the money? Not only would it benefit the owner, right, for having more people, it would benefit them because, hey, they have another worker and they can get more money, right? Along with that, you as the employee get money. It's a win-win. Why is it hard to get a job? Not only is it because businesses shut down, it's also because AI. I want to talk about AI. Because I'm sure you guys hear a lot of stuff about Gen Z and how it's hard to get a job for us and stuff like that. Now, I have some friends and people that I know that, you know, they're lucky enough to have a job. Like they actually got a job and they're, you know, they're fine. And I'm really happy for him. I'm very happy for them. But then there's someone like me, right? Where I've been applying to places, all of that stuff. And I've been struggling to get a job ever since I graduated high school. And I graduated 2 years ago. I'm class of 2024. I graduated 2 years ago. And I have been trying to get a job for so long. Now, ever since I was in middle school, I've wanted to be a YouTuber / streamer. That's still my dream. To make a job out of it, right? And be able to make a big impact in the industry and help a lot of people, you know what I mean, with my content. It's always been my goal since I was young. But, you know, obviously, a lot of people have a lot of slower starts compared to other big streamers, you know what I mean? And you don't just get to go famous overnight. Some people aren't that lucky. So, with someone like me that wants to get a job so I can invest into my streaming / YouTube career, right? AI and things after COVID make it really difficult. Because here's the thing as well. AI, here's what's going on with AI and jobs right now. Here's what's going on. AI puts out fake job postings. They're fake. They're literally just fake. Oh great, I'm confused now. What's Salamence have? Fuck it, we have to go Gengar. They're either fake. Well, they usually are just fake. Yeah, they're fake, or companies will use AI to try and determine what applicant is better than others. And let's say you have this insane resume and this great application, right? It fits great for the company. It's great compared to some other random person that isn't exactly fit for that like position, right? But your resume and application is. Now, AI isn't perfect. So AI, what a lot of people may struggle with as well for getting a job, maybe someone my age as well, is AI will fuck up and it'll go with the applicant that is, worse. Just worse. Not as suited for the position as the person with the good resume and good application, right? And when AI fucks up like that, let's say the person takes the interview. Let's say that person with the bad application, right? They get an interview and they're like, yeah, you're not fit for this position. We're gonna humbly decline or whatever, right? So now they ruined the job for two people. Now two people are missing a job because the person with the good application and good resume didn't even get considered because of AI's fuck up, right? And then, along with that, the person that AI decided to consider, he or she is, they don't have a job anymore either because they weren't fit for it. And all of that stacks up. Those numbers stack up. The 2 to 4 to 6, 8, 12, 34. It goes on and on, right? So this is what I mean by things have changed a lot, because technology is advancing and it costs a lot of money. And it's come to a point where we need the money. We absolutely need it to be able to pay for rent or mortgage, get clothes and food and water and electricity. And people are forced living paycheck to paycheck because of how expensive things got after COVID. And let's say some teenager wants to get a job and help their parents out. Now it's hard for them to get a job because of AI and just how crazy, like the crazy expectations are, like, for just getting a fucking job. A simple job. It could be a fucking McDonald's, flipping burgers and shit. It's ridiculous. And people need that money. Any amount of money will help. People need that money so they can help their parents and help themselves for their future. They're not even thinking about, hey, I'm gonna save up with this money and get a fucking house and get a nice supercar with it and get some kind of mansion, right? They don't think about that anymore. We don't have that mindset anymore. When you're trying to get a job, you are trying to get a job to either help your family or help yourself barely be able to live and barely be able to afford to live, right? It's changed in 20 years and it's sad. It's horrible, really. God, this world is so cruel, man. It really sucks. But yeah, that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about. Let me know your thoughts about how things have changed. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.